AEW Revolution, I have no idea why I pointed at you, I'm sorry, okay, happened last night. If you're watching this while in the future, it happened in the past. So, March 9th, 2025. I could have done a review earlier, but I had work, so trying to watch it, work, it's on late, blah, 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 excuses. So, 9 matches. I think I predicted 8 out of 9 correctly, so go me. What else happened? I predicted a few other things correctly. I thought about predicting some things, but I didn't say them, so that doesn't count. So, I'll try and do in order. I'll give my opinions of the matches and what I personally thought. So, the match started off, well, the night started off straight away with a match, which was Hangman Adam Page versus MJF. Obviously, these are going to be spoilers because it's like basically my opinions and a review. So, Hangman defeated MJF with a buckshot lariat. Okay, which sounds great, but it's basically just a clothesline. So, I don't understand, okay, spoiler alert for much later on as well, how 2 matches can be won with a version of a clothesline, but you've got Hangman Adam Page basically getting kicked in the face upside down, then Alabama slammed, then dropped on his head with a tombstone pile driver on a chair that didn't budge, and then obviously MJF gets beat by a clothesline. I understand obviously there was obviously a lot more involved. It's his finisher. He kicked out of obviously another buckshot lariat. But I mean, on paper, you can get guys being dropped on their heads, kicking out of it, but another guy wins with a clothesline. Like, that's my only bad side of this, or whatever it is. Like, AEW basically kicks out of a lot of moves. That's fine, that's what they do, it makes it more entertaining. But then you go and lose to a clothesline. Like, I know it's going to piss a lot of people off, but I need somebody to make it make sense to me. Other than that, I love this match. A great opening match. I didn't think it would be the first opening match, but it was. The first opening match. That doesn't sound right. Then we've got Mercedes Moné retaining her TBS title when she defeated Momo Watanabe. Like I said, if I pronounce that name wrong, I do apologise. There's so many names in here I cannot pronounce. She defeated her with a statement maker, I believe she calls it now. It was the bank statement before, which is basically like a version of a crossface. I didn't really enjoy this match. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't terrible, but I wasn't really interested in it. So out of all the matches, out of the 9 matches, if I could avoid one, like if I had to rewatch it, it would be this one. So if you haven't watched it yet and you want to go back and watch it, I'd probably say skip this match because not a lot really happened unless you really want to watch it. So there's not really a lot to say about it really. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I've seen a lot better. Then we go on to the number 1 contenders match. Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet. Basically, Prince Nana just wanted his robe back. He tried to get it back. Okay, he tried telling Swerve basically he needs to win the match inside the ring. Swerve pushes him because he's basically angry and frustrated. Not at Prince Nana, just in the match. Obviously, he realises what he's done. Prince Nana walks out. Then he comes back, puts his robe on. Ricochet basically dives out the ring, hits Prince Nana. Okay, puts his robe on. Obviously, all this other stuff. He thinks he's won the match. Obviously, Swerve kicks out. You know, Swerve basically pins Ricochet and obviously presents Prince Nana with the robe by obviously kneeling down to him. But the match to me started off really slow. I was like, this is actually quite boring. I shouldn't say this because I think Swerve and Ricochet are like great wrestlers. Well, Swerve more than Ricochet, but still. But then it started picking up. I think the point where it picked up was they looked like they was going to go for a move, both of them off the top rope. Then Ricochet jumped down to the apron. And then after that, I don't know what the move's called, where Swerve had Ricochet on his back, on the announce table, I believe it was, and just basically dropped him on his back on his neck. And I was like, yeah, I like that, yeah. Then we had a match for the Continental Championship. The champion, Okada, like I said, I'm not going to try and say his first name because I get it wrong all the time, versus Brody King. This match, to me, was just a lot of Brody King just chopping Okada. I mean, like I said, I predicted all these matches correct. The only one I got wrong, I believe, was Hangman versus MJF. But the whole Brody King match was Okada trying to cheat, obviously bringing like a weapon into the ring. Obviously the ref basically throws it out the ring when he's distracted. He gets in with the title bout, and Brody King obviously still kicks out of it. And obviously they're going back and forth. A few good moves in there, a great wrestling match. I wouldn't say great, but it's good. I've seen Okada have a better wrestling matches. And then he wins with his Rainmaker finisher, which is just another clothesline. So this is what I'm saying to you. You've got two wrestlers with like clotheslines as finishers, but then they're okay to be dropped on their head on steel chairs. It's very confusing. I'm sure there's more to it, but that's what I know. But yeah, it wasn't a fantastic match. I mean, it was a good match. I enjoyed watching it. But then obviously Okada retained his title. Then we had the tag team match. This match to me was just fun. Okay, it wasn't supposed to be great, technical and all this stuff. Okay, the Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners. I love the Outrunners. They're just absolutely brilliant. They bring a different character to wrestling, which I've never thought of anyone actually ever doing before. It should be fun to see. So obviously the Hurt Syndicate were basically losing to the Outrunners. MVP, too many letters in this organisation, basically said to them, like, what you're doing, like, I mean, get angry, get it sorted, and what you expected, basically. They won with a spear. I think it was Shelton Benjamin that actually speared him. Might be wrong there. I can't remember. But yeah, like I said, if you missed it, it's okay. If you didn't miss it, you'd have fun watching the Outrunners. They're just fun to watch. I love the entrance as well. Then you had probably my favourite match of the night. Timeless Tony Storm defeating Mariah May in, what do they call it now? The Hollywood End match? I didn't realise this was any kind of match. It's basically just a street fighter with a different name. But they involved broken glass, obviously tape around the actual fist with glass as well. Tables, obviously blood was involved. A shoe. Basically, Timeless Tony Storm beat the hell out of like Mariah May with the shoe. And I believe she did a pile driver from... It was elevated up like sort of thing and then through a table. But other than that, like, I just loved this match. My only problem was, though, I just wish it went on longer. Like I've said before as well, I do think NXT has the best women's division. But two single stars in a program, in a match, in a feud, is Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May. Tops, trumps, whatever word you want to use. Anything I've seen in WWE and NXT. Fantastic match. Then I believe we had, I might get this few in a bit different order, whatever it is. Okay, Kenny Omega defeating, okay, I'm going to try and say this name, Kanushka Takeshita for the International Championship. I predicted that as well, so like I said, go me. But what I don't like is, okay, Kenny got tombstoned, then there was another move, I forgot the name, then it was like two other finishes he kicked out or whatever, and they ended up kicking out at one, and I was just like, okay, I understand obviously the situation of what you're trying to do here, but if you want a move to be devastating, don't have every single person kick out of it. Make it more believable that it actually hurts somebody. You can't just go, oh, Sani dropped somebody on his neck, and then kick out at like one or whatever you kicked out at, but then have somebody else be out for months. Either way, Kenny Omega is the new international champion. Great match. I loved it. Fantastic. You had Don Callis trying to get involved. I think he hurt his hand because he hit it on the announce table. I might be wrong there. Kenny's just fantastic. Like, it's literally like you just, if you're playing a video game, you get like a power pack boost and he just does some random things. Then we had Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. I predicted that Will was going to win. I predicted that somebody was going to get involved somehow, pass some weapons through. That all happened. Okay, it was a great match. Thumbtacks were involved. We call them drawing pins. By say we, I mean the English people, I believe. If I'm wrong, who cares? I looked like a Spanish fly off the top of the cage, I believe. Obviously, moved onto chairs and stuff, but obviously Will still kicking out. Will and Kyle, great together. I love watching Will. Obviously, loads and loads of blood involved. The cage looks a bit different, because I think I've only ever seen one AEW cage match, and that was Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page in the unsanctioned match. Well, I loved this match. I think it was great. I don't think it actually needed the cage. I mean, it didn't make it worse. I understand, obviously, they're trying to do it to keep the Don Callis family out, which didn't really work. I think their match at, was it Grand Slam Australia? No, that's a tag team match. They had a match before that, I believe. I think that was better. That's my personal opinion. Because Will looked like he was limited a bit to his moveset. Not a lot, just a bit. but I do prefer a match where it wasn't involving a cage between them two. Then we had Jon Moxley retaining against Cope. I believe that Switchblade Jay White was going to turn, okay, on Cope and become like a heel, whatever they call it these days. He technically hit him with the briefcase, so it didn't turn, but, you know, almost cost him the match. And then Christian Cage cashed his contract in. I was like, I should have thought of that. I'm sure I thought of it, but I didn't say it, so it doesn't count. Okay, to make it into a three-way match. Brilliant. Hits the spear. I was like, all right, sound, he's going to basically win this. But he didn't. Cope kicked out. Then you had the, what's he call it these days? The kill switch? Unprettier? Kill switch, I don't know. Probably something completely different. Okay. Shot into Cope. I thought, all right, sound, he's actually going to win this time. And then you had basically Moxley hitting, well, getting his like headlock maneuver thing in, retaining the world title. So it's like you've basically just wasted your contract there. But before that, it wasn't exactly like a fantastic match, to be honest. It's like, it is what it is. It's not terrible, but, you know, Cope's basically in his 50s with a broken neck. So let's just do some moves where he lands on his neck and can damage his neck even more. It's a brilliant idea. But hearing the crowd, though, like singing along again to Cope's music, you can just tell he absolutely loves that. Moxley was walking out, so Swerve jumps off the stairs, basically where the fans are, after Prince Nana basically was in Moxley's face, basically just saying that obviously it's Swerve's house. I mean, whose house? Swerve's house. We all know that. And saying that basically he's next in line. So to me, what that means is Swerve's next in line. Now we know that. Obviously, he's like the number one contender. So that's obviously Moxley and Swerve next. But you've got Cope and Christian Cage. Now, do they go through another feud again? Or do they realise that obviously they can't do things on their own, but together they are basically like unstoppable? So if they come together, because it's got to be near the end of their careers now, like everyone wants them to go out together. So do they want them to go out together as a tag team or against each other? Now, considering we've already seen them go against each other, in obviously when Cope first got to AEW, basically Cope defeated Christian Cage in an I Quit match. So we've already seen that. I know we've already seen them be a tag team, but how long has it actually been before they're actually going to be a tag team? They both actually want to be a tag team together, if that makes sense. I don't care about them winning the tag team titles, but if they did, defeating the Hurt Syndicate would be fantastic. But all in all, a fantastic show. I absolutely loved Will Ospreay's entrance. I'm not sure if it's any different, but it seemed like it was. Literally no complaints, just a few questions of like how you can get dropped on your head but then lose to a clothesline. I'm sure there's like a really simple logical answer. A fantastic match, fantastic show. Matches, I should say. But that's basically my review. Why don't you let me know what you thought of the show, what you thought of my review. If it's terrible, I'd like to know. But obviously, because there's only like about 14 subscribers at the time obviously recording, you're probably not going to comment because obviously you need people to have a lot more subscribers. But then you can't get the subscribers unless other people subscribe. It's a very weird, confusing situation. Anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.